Welcome back to Short Time with Vin and Dave. Vin Ebonu, Dave Crossan with you here in hour number 2 on our Mother's Day episode of Short Time with Vin and Dave on 94.3 The Point and 105.7 The Hawk. And Dave, we're trying to atone for our financial wrongdoings here.
Okay.
Testify, Brother Dave, the financial wake-up call we need.
Buddy, I'm doing my stretching.
Oh.
I'm ready.
Oh, this one's going to be intense.
Here we go. Now, I'm going to tell you this.
All right.
This is going to be the show that when we get on stage and we win the award and they talk about the best financial segment, they're going to pull us up. We're going to get that award, and this is going to be it.
The financial award.
This is it.
Boom,
this
there
is the
it
show.
is.
This is the show.
Brace yourselves,
Are
people.
you ready?
Lay it on me, Dave.
All right, here it is. Here we go. So I love listening to different conversations with clients and people who actually listen to the show about different ideas. What is going on in their world?
Sure.
Different things that they are considering. So I received a call from a listener.
All right.
Nice is that?
Yeah, there we go.
Vicky from Bedminster reached out to me and she said, David, she enjoys listening to the show, but she has a question. She's concerned about the stock market, everything that's going on.
Sure.
She's contributing to her 401k, and her concern is the limited options. Because, with a 401k, it's a great place, and I tell this to people all the time. When you're contributing to your 401k, if your company is matching, make sure you contribute at least up to that amount. Because if not, you're leaving money on the table. We don't want to do that then.
Nope.
Do not want to do that.
That's a no-no.
Here's the issue.
All right.
With the volatility of the market, her concern is with the option she has in the 401k, what can she do? Is that it? Is there anything else she can do with her money? Consider the fact she is still working. So I said, Vicky, let's talk about this. I said, all right, here's the situation. You may qualify for what is called an in-service non-hardship distribution. And Vin, you're looking at me and you're asking me, what is that? Well, I'm going to tell you what that is.
Inquiring minds want to know.
There it is. Okay. So, again, this is something you have to check with your plan administrator to see if your company will allow you to do this. And the other driving factor is your age. Depending on your age, 59 and a half is the key age to be able to do something like this. But for a lot of people, they work well beyond 59 and a half.
Sure.
And, it might be a situation where, again, with this volatility of the market, what are their options? If Vicky qualifies, and again, has to check with her plan administrator,
right?
She may be able to take a portion of her 401k while she is working and move it to a traditional IRA. So you look at me, Vin, and you're like, so what? What does that mean?
Hope.
Well, what does that do for Vicky in this case?
Yes.
Okay, here's what it does.
All right.
When you can move money to a traditional IRA, it opens up the door to a lot more options. Individual stocks, different mutual funds, annuities, bonds, ETFs. I've got more. Look at this list.
Oh,
it's
boy.
Right here. Look
Here
at
we
that
go.
And for somebody that's concerned about the market, it provides other opportunities to be able to put something, say, they want something a little bit more safe. They want to invest in areas that they can't with their 401k. Here's the other one. Typically with a 401k, when you have questions about your investments, what do? You call an 800 number. You may not speak to the same person. You ask questions. They give general information. They basically say, okay, here's this fund, here's that fund, here's, based on your age, different things you can do and how you can invest. But now, let's say you're able to move this money over to from a 401k to a traditional IRA.
Right.
You can tap into a financial advisor, an advisor that can help you with your investments. So think about that. Now here's a situation where she can move her money to a traditional IRA and have a lot more options. And if she's looking to have her financial advisor help her,
right,
now the opportunity is to do so. So let's go through the mechanics, shall we?
Let's do it.
We shall.
All right.
Okay. So what would need to happen is with a 401k, you would call the plan administrator and say, do I qualify for an in-service non-hardship? Consider what I said, non-hardship. There isn't a hardship here.
Okay.
It's simply the ability to roll it, like I roll it over.
Roll it on in.
Roll it over, move it over, right? It's not going to be taxable.
Okay.
That's important because consider this, with the 401k, this is money that there have been contributions, matching from the employer if the employer does match.
Sure.
It's all pre-tax money. pre-tax. Okay?
All right.
Now, we want to make sure we can move this money over to a traditional IRA.
Okay.
It's not taxable. It doesn't trigger a taxable event. That's very important.
Interesting.
There you go. So now we're able to do this. We haven't paid any tax. It
Okay.
moved over point A to point B. Boom to boom.
There we go.
Okay.
Straight line.
So now there it is, nice and clean. So now once it's there, assuming again, talk to your plan administrator that you can do this, then that money can be invested based on what the traditional IRA offers. And let me tell you something. Typically with a 401k, you may have a handful, 10, 20 different options. Now, let's say somebody wants to invest in individual stocks, wants to go with certain mutual funds, certain sectors. Maybe we're looking at the market a different way. Like, you know what? The market has come back, but there are certain sectors and investments that have gone down. There's opportunities. But in the 401k, I don't have the ability to invest that way. Now, with the traditional IRA, there are so many options, so many, that if you're looking for somebody to also help you,
okay.
a financial advisor, now they're able to help you with this portfolio. Where again, with a 401k, typically it's that 800 number call, you speak to somebody, get general information. Now with the traditional IRA, you have the ability to do all these different investments. Now keep in mind, with making this move from a traditional to a traditional IRA, you still have that tax benefit of it being pre-tax. If you're past the age of 59 and a half,
okay,
that's the key age.
Right.
You could then, if you decided to do so, do a distribution, and you're only going to pay the income tax. Any distributions prior to age 59 and a half, the IRS says, not so fast, and they say, we want a 10% penalty. We don't want that.
No, nobody wants that.
Nobody wants that. The other thing, too, that works is once you do that distribution, and again, you invest how you want to invest, it gives you that extra flexibility. Okay. Now, what if you don't want to take a distribution and you simply want to just grow this money tax deferred?
Sure.
What's wrong with that?
Yeah, why not?
The key age now that you're forced to take a distribution, that the IRS is saying, hey, you need to start taking distributions at this age or we're going to penalize you, is age now 72.
Oh.
It used to be 70 and a half.
Interesting.
So here's what happens at that age. You get to 72, all right? There is a certain percentage that you need to take out or the IRS will penalize you. So let's make up some numbers, shall we? We shall.
Why not?
Let's say you're age 72, all right? And we do the calculation and you need to take out $10,000. Because again, why is this happening?
Sure.
The IRS wants to start taxing that money. Because it's all pre-tax money, deferred taxation. They now want to start that taxation process. But let's say you don't do that distribution.
Right.
That's not good. Why is that not good? I'm going to tell you.
Please.
Here you go. That $10,000, that's the example we use today.
Okay.
50% penalty if you don't do that distribution. I'm pounding the desk today. I'm fired up.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be fired up too at that rate.
50% penalty. 50% penalty.
That's terrible.
It's hefty.
Yeah.
So where am I going with this? I have no idea. No, here's where I'm going with this.
You always circle back, though.
Exactly. It's the flexibility. It's the ability to have, if, again, the plan administrator says it's a possibility to move that money over. Number one, you have more investment options, choices for people that are concerned about the market. And let's be honest, we're seeing the market. It's up, it's down, it's sideways. We're seeing interest rates go up. Maybe we want certain hedges or different protections that we just can't get in the 401k.
Right.
Maybe also, too, somebody like me, myself, and I, you want a financial advisor to help you with these assets. Maybe, and we talk about this a lot, Vin, people have other 401ks that are out there from different employers. They just left a job, and right now, what do they call this now? The Great Resignation for a lot of people that have changed jobs during this pandemic. People have started their own businesses. They left this firm. They've gone to another firm, and they've left these 401ks out there. Here's an opportunity now that maybe we take other 401ks from other jobs to consolidate.
Okay.
Consolidate. So why do I think that's important? Number one, control. I like to control.
Sure.
Control your money.
Yeah.
do me a favor. When you get your statements from previous 401ks, what do people do? They put it in the drawer. They do.
It's a
and then
natural,
they look at it when
habit.
the market goes down. When the market's going up, people don't typically look at it. And then all of a sudden they're like, whoa, what happened? Why wasn't I on top of this?
Right.
The other thing, Vin, is overlap. People, when they have multiple accounts that they're not keeping an eye on, they're not making sure that there may be areas that they're not diversified. They're overlapped in certain areas where, again, if they had all the accounts where it was something where a financial advisor was helping them, they could help them properly diversify. Especially in the market that we're dealing with, or any market, you should be properly diversified to make sure that you're set up in a way also to evaluate your risk tolerance, also your time horizon. As you get older, what happens? Well, we're thinking about retirement. How should we be invested? Should we maybe be less in stocks, more toward fixed income or bonds? Again, this is a general conversation. That's a conversation you want to have with your advisor. But with that being said, this was something I wanted to bring up. It was a great question, and it's something where a lot of people don't even know it exists. They figure, you know what, I have a 401k as long as I'm with the company. I can't change it or move it other than what's within the actual 401k to invest in. This may provide an opportunity for people to diversify by going to a traditional IRA and have more choices, and to be able to have a financial advisor help them with investing these assets. And I can't drop the mic because the mic is hanging. I can't drop it. Can I pick it up and drop it?
Be frowned upon in this establishment.
All right. And that's it. Again, what is it called? In-service distribution, or in-service non-hardship distribution.
There it is.
Speak to your plan administrator, and I leave it at that.
Boom.
That's where I'm going. That's it. That's all I got.
It's a nice finish line.
All right.
There we go. A little financial wake-up call here on Mother's Day. A nice, refreshing look at the world of finances. Dave, people can reach the show anytime, shorttime at townsquaremedia.com. Where can they reach you at Shoreline Wealth Management?
Notice I'm holding my card, because last time I think I gave out my cell phone number.
He doesn't want to forget the wrong number.
Exactly. That's great, isn't it? All right, let's go to the office, shall we? We shall.
Why not?
732-902-7880. Of course, you can always go to shorelinewealth.com.
Always.
We have an office in Manchester and Manahawkin. Thank you, Vin.
Dave, thanks as always for that financial wake-up call. We got a little more going on here in hour number 2. The founder of Infinite Love for Kids Fighting Cancer, a Middletown mom here on Mother's Day, here helping other kids who are battling cancer and their families as well. Her story coming up next. More Short Time with Vin and Dave on the way here on 94.3 The Point and 105.7 The Hawk. Contributions to a traditional IRA may be tax deductible in the contribution year. With current income tax due at withdrawal. Withdrawals prior to age 59.5 may result in a 10% IRS penalty tax in addition to current income tax. This information is not intended to be a substitute for specific individualized tax advice. We suggest that you discuss your specific tax issues with a qualified tax advisor. There is no guarantee that a diversified portfolio will enhance overall returns or outperform a non-diversified portfolio. Diversification does not protect against market risk. A plan participant leaving an employer typically has 4 options and may engage in a combination of these options, each choice offering advantages and disadvantages. Leave the money in his or her former employer's plan if permitted, roll over the assets to his or her new employer's plan if one is available, and rollovers are permitted. Roll over to an IRA or cash out the account value. The opinions voiced in the show are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. This information is not intended to be a substitute for individualized legal advice. Please consult your legal advisor regarding your specific situation.
Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA, SIPC.
Whether you are in the early stages of investing, getting ready to retire, or planning your estate, you need a financial planner who will guide you on a clear path with honesty and transparency. Shoreline Wealth Management provides clarity through the complexity. Shoreline's system is straightforward. They will understand your financial circumstances, identify goals, analyze current plans, and customize a path to position you to reach your goals. Shoreline Wealth Management is your financial anchor. Visit shorelinewealth.com for more information today. Shorelinewealth.com. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA, SIPC.
Hey, it's Chris Carlin from Rutgers Football and 98.7 ESPN in New York, and you're listening to Short Time with Vin and Dave on 94.3 The Point and 105.7 The Hawk. These fellas are entertaining.
Welcome back to Short Time with Vin and Dave. Vin Avenue, Dave Crossan with you here in hour number 2 on Mother's Day 2022. And we've got ourselves a mom from Middletown here with us this morning, Andrea Verdone Gorsegner, the founder of Infinite Love for Kids Fighting Cancer. We're going to get into the nonprofit, all the different events that they do, and how you can help as well along the way this morning. But first, most important thing, Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you so much. I can't wait after this. I'm going to head home and enjoy some time with my family and my mom and my mother-in-law. We're
Well
going to have a nice day.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. So you got two daughters, Natalie, of course, and Hannah.
Yep.
So Natalie's, remind me of the ages. Natalie's 12, Hannah's 13.
Well, Natalie is going to be 13 in
okay.
September. Hannah's going to be 15 in June.
Oh,
so
There you
wow.
go.
So
Okay.
I was
Very nice.
almost 2 official teenagers in the
So
house.
are you ready
Wow.
for that challenge,
Yeah.
the teenagers?
Honestly, like all the cliches, my kids are the opposite. They're such good kids. Everybody has their moments, of course,
Oh,
but for the
sure.
most part, they are really solid young ladies. Very
There we
proud.
go. Proud mama right there.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Andrea, we wanted to have you in today. Certainly, it's a great blessing to have you in here on Mother's Day, so it all works out on that
Thank
front.
you.
But to talk about Infinite Love for Kids Fighting Cancer, something that you founded after Natalie overcame her battle with leukemia, something that that you battled at just 3 years old.
Yeah.
So happy, healthy girl right now. So how did the foundation come to be? How did you come up with this idea after going through it and watching Natalie battle cancer herself?
Yeah, well, it kind of started during her fight because she was diagnosed in August of 2012 with high-risk acute lymphoblastic leukemia. And, it turned your world upside down. I used to work in publishing in Manhattan, had a really demanding job, and I went from working full-time to never returning to my office again when she was diagnosed. And throughout her fight, within a few months, I started learning more and more about childhood cancer. And the more I learned, the more angry I got because I started discovering that, our kids only get 4% of the NCI's annual budget.
Wow.
And, some people think, okay, well, I know adult cancers get more funding, but it goes down to the kids. And the trickle-down effect does not work when it comes to medicine with children because, their bodies metabolize everything completely differently than adults. And you just can't give them less dosages of certain chemos. So children need their own forms of treatment. So when I discovered how underfunded research was for childhood cancer, and then to find out that there's only been 4 new drugs developed for any type of childhood cancer in the past 25 years, actually
crazy.
more than that at this rate. And for a lot of adult cancers, there tends to be about 900 in the pipeline each year.
Okay.
Wow.
The more and more and more that you learn, you're just blown away. Like, how is it that in, this country, this world, that this is possible, that you have these kids with these archaic treatments, and a lot of them end up passing away due to the treatment, and they're cancer-free at the time because it's just so aggressive. So with that, and that feeling as a parent that you can't help your child. Here I have this 3-year-old who doesn't understand what's happening to her. We're telling her that these people are helping her, yet they're causing her pain. So imagine the confusion in a toddler trying to understand that. I remember moments of, them, the doctors and nurses, the wonderful doctors and nurses, trying to do things for her. And I would have to pin her down. And she would say to me, Mommy, make them stop. Help me, Mommy. And I could feel that like in my bones, how horrible that was. So I needed something to make me feel empowered, something that made me feel like I was also able to help fight her cancer, even though I couldn't fight what was going on in her body. So that coupled with learning these really sad statistics about childhood cancer research, I just on a whim, this is about, if that was August 2012, this was in April 2013.
Okay.
I said to my husband, I'm like, you know what? We had a nice following on her Facebook page at that point. It was called Infinite Love for Natalie Grace, public page. It was set up to update family, friends, and just to raise general awareness about childhood cancer.
Sure.
We had a really nice following after a bit of time, and I said, what if I asked every one of her followers to send us $1 for research? I wonder how much we could raise. In my mind, I had this grand plan of raising like $10,000.
Sure.
I'm like, that would be incredible. To be able to do that while she was in active treatment. At the same time, we had to sell our home because I no longer had my paycheck coming in. Right. So,
wow.
You're dealing with that at the same time. But we did it. I was like, you know what? We got a P.O. box. We got a separate checking account to keep it separate from our personal finances. I took a picture of Natalie and I had someone take a picture of Natalie and I holding a sign I made out of construction paper that said, will you send us $1 for childhood cancer research? And posted it to her Facebook page. And then, shortly after left to pick up Hannah from kindergarten at the time. I came home, I think it was maybe a half an hour later, and it had already been shared over 50 times. It already had a couple hundred comments and, fast forward a week or so, and it just went completely viral.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was really, really great. We were really surprised, and long story short, because most of my stories are long.
And we enjoy each and every one of them.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. I always say it's the Italian in me. This is me trimming it down. Trust me. I was like, okay, we need a deadline because I feel like people want to help you get to that goal and to that deadline.
Oh, sure.
So at that rate, when we saw more money was coming in, we upped our goal to $50,000. And again, since we started in April, I was like, well, September is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. It also happens to be Natalie's birthday month. So let's make it Natalie's birthday wish, and we'll make it an even $50,000.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Honestly, thinking there's no chance we're going to be able to make this happen. It's not like I could hold a fundraiser at that time. It was all, pushing it on her Facebook page, hanging flyers, social media mostly, getting the word out there. And by the end of September, we had raised $110,000.
Wow, there you go.
Where every single penny went to fund AML research. Not what Natalie had. It's a more aggressive a form of leukemia. But a friend I had met along the way had recently lost her son at the time to AML, so I wanted to do something in his name. Then the rest is history. Once that happened, it was like, okay, this is something we have to keep doing. This isn't a one and done thing. And Natalie's treatment lasted a little over 2 years. She finished November 2014. And from that point on, we transitioned her Infinite Love page to Infinite Love for kids fighting cancer and just kept it going. And from that point, we've already given $1.6 million to research.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome.
To some of our countries, like leading research hospitals and facilities to include MSK, Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, Dana-Farber, all over the nation, even funded some research in Italy.
Oh, wow.
That's great.
And we've covered almost all types of childhood cancer, and there's 12 major forms of childhood cancer. So we're pretty proud. And then in addition to that, we help families. We get introduced to new families all the time. And, whether it's helping them to pay a bill, making a wish come true for one of our fighters, even doing special things for siblings, because a lot of times they get put back on the back burner, and the families and the parents in general. We'll do anything we can to help a family. And if it's kind of above what we can do, we'll reach out to other nonprofits to see if they can help us. We'll find a way to help them. So we're definitely a full service foundation. I always say we're small, but we're really mighty. And the best part is we are 100% volunteer run. Nobody takes a salary. We don't have a brick or mortar location. Our overhead is very low. So everything that comes in, like when people donate, they're getting every bang for their buck. It is going right back out to our families and right back out to research. So we're pretty proud.
And you are a 501c3.
We are a 501c3.
Okay, well, that's big. I mean, so obviously the money gets put to good use.
It
and then
absolutely
for
does.
the person who's donating, there's the possibility of a tax write-off, too.
100%. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we always tell people one-time donations are always appreciated. Beggars can't be choosers. But what we're really after, if you're listening, is monthly donors. That is really what keeps us going, especially during the pandemic. I know most people think it's over, but this one of the events that we're going to talk about later in the next segment is
I like
our
that tease.
yeah, you like
See
that?
how we do this here?
Da, 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 da.
She's good at this. She's a natural.
Is a 5K. We call it our Infinite Love Toot Toot Trot. And we're always saying that, this is the first time we're going to be doing something in person since COVID started. So not having our annual galas and, all our big money makers really, really hurt us. We probably lost in the last couple of years about $800,000.
Oh, wow.
It hasn't stopped us from helping our families, thank goodness. And we've still been able to donate towards research, not as much as we normally would, but we've been able to do it. But monthly donors are what kept us going through COVID because, that was money coming in that we didn't have to, work for in that moment.
Sure.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because for a lot of people, when they make donations, they'll do it at the end of the year. And, and then all of a sudden, it's like, what about the rest of the year?
Right.
And I always tell people, if you're looking to donate to a nonprofit or a charity, whatever that dollar amount is, break it up. Break it up because the nonprofit could use it.
Yeah.
Not everything at the end of a year, those in the summer or whatever. But yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. That's so
Absolutely.
important.
And we have donors, we have monthly donors. Some give $5 a month. Some give $100 a month. We have one sponsor, Gorsegner Brothers Hardwood Floors.
There you go.
They give $500 a month.
Oh, there you go.
And it doesn't matter if it's $5 or if it's $100. Like this whole foundation started because of a single dollar. Every dollar matters. So if somebody can forfeit their Starbucks coffee, for a week, a month out of the month, there you
It
go,
is amazing if you think about
$25.
it, how there's simple things that we could all do.
Yes.
That we can all come up with a dollar, like
Yeah,
you're talking
when you
about.
think
Maybe
about
it's 5, maybe it's 10.
Yes, and it matters.
Yeah.
It really matters, and I appreciate even those $5 donations. I'll reach out to some of those people and thank them because I know some of them are struggling, and yet they're like, you know what, I could still do this, and they'll always say, "Oh, it's not much." I'm like, it is. It adds up, and it means a lot to us, and it helps. So.
We're talking with Andrea Verdone Gorsegner, the founder of Infinite Love for Kids Fighting Cancer and a Middletown mom. To put into perspective as well, or try to, because obviously you help fund or donate funds to fund pediatric cancer research. Just how expensive is it with some of the medical bills or with some of the treatments, or with any pediatric cancer that kids are battling themselves, and then mom and dad are bringing them to and from doctors. Just
right.
How costly is this with where things are at now with some of the treatments or some of the medicines? And you mentioned sort of the archaic treatments, but with where things have been and where things are now, just how much of an expense is this to, I guess, try and put into perspective or something like just how much these donations are needed?
Right. I mean, when your child is diagnosed with a disease like cancer, it could be any disease where you suddenly have one parent who has to leave their job. It's not an option to continue working. I don't think a lot of people realize how financially devastating that is because, here we were, my husband and I, feeling like we're doing pretty good in life. We both have really great jobs and we're able to, thankfully support our kids in the way that we want and roof over our head, food on the table, heat, air conditioning, all that stuff. And then suddenly, like that, out of nowhere, we're down my salary, and it was a generous salary. So to have that suddenly be gone and then you have to sell your house so you can stay afloat, at that alone, that financial difficulty alone, but then add in, of course, it's different for all families when it comes to insurance.
Right.
What kind of type of insurance? At the time, we were being covered by my insurance with my publishing company. And, they allowed me to pay COBRA for about 6 months. But, oof.
Expensive.
That was a huge hit, considering I no longer had a salary. That was like having another mortgage payment and then some.
Now you're down one income, and now you have the extra expenses.
Absolutely, and not just that, you have all the copays. Every time your kid is in the hospital, every doctor that walks in that room, and you can't say, "Hey, excuse me, are you necessary in the room? Because I don't want to pay your copay." You're paying that doctor's copay, that specialist's copay. We were to a point a few months in where we were getting letters from collectors and our, the insurance at the time, we were getting bills from doctors, and you're looking at all of them and you're like, wait, which one are we paying? Wasn't this from the same thing? We're getting double. It got so overwhelming because here you are also trying to be with your child. And this is a 24/7 diagnosis. This isn't something you go to an appointment and then you go home and your kid watches TV and plays and you do what you got to do. I mean, this is constant. We were lucky that my mom offered to kind of take over and deal with all that for us. So she made all of the annoying, horrible calls to battle, different bills and to, see what needed to be paid.
Because it can be confusing. You have all these different bills coming in and handling all that.
Yep. And then you have things like, one of the medications Natalie had to have, we had to have it condensed into a liquid form. We had to go to one place in North Jersey and, that was like $300 a month. Not covered by insurance.
Right.
There's so many expenses. We were fortunate. We lived 15 minutes from the hospital Natalie was treated at. She was at Hackensack University Medical Center up in Hackensack.
There you go.
I'm like, wait a minute.
That's where it is.
We lived right nearby at the time in Rutherford. So we were lucky on our commuting costs. But, oh, my goodness, some of these families, they have to drive an hour or two, like multiple times in the week, just to get to the hospital. Imagine the gas costs, Imagine the food costs, doing Uber Eats. There's a lot of these families, they have to get hotel rooms. And that's just the tip of it. I mean, I know families who have to fly, who lived in Virginia and had to fly over 130 times to MSK in New York. I mean, there's so many expenses that you just don't think about. So whenever people reach out, hey, my friend's, son was diagnosed, what can I do? I'm like, I know you want to do a grand gesture. I know you want to make a basket of toys for this kid or something. I go, you know what? They need money. Like, unless they're independently wealthy, I guarantee you they're going to need financial help.
Sure.
So get your friends together, chip in, get gift cards to Uber Eats and to Amazon and to all those things. I go, I know it's boring, but that's what they're probably going to need. Yeah. It's another thing Infinite Love does. We actually, our website has this amazing platform where we can set up fundraising pages.
Oh, there you go.
So in addition to our just everyday kind of fundraising, we're able to set up a page for a family that's just for them, and they can share it with their families. And our foundation will pay for any credit card transaction fees. So the families get 100% of what is donated to them.
That's awesome.
So, we've raised up to $40,000 for some of our families, and it really, really helps kind of carry them through. Yeah.
Andrea, Dave and I have to go to a break. Do you mind hanging out with us?
I would love to.
You gave such a nice tease before about the 225 kid coming up. We got to dive into that.
Absolutely.
More Short Time with Vin and Dave and Infinite Love for Kids Fighting Cancer founder and Middletown mom, Andrea Verdone Gorsegner, right after this.
Hello, this is Chef David Burke on Short Time with Vin and Dave on 94.3 The Point and 105.7 The Hawk. And if you could see us, you'd know the three of us have perfect faces for radio.
Let's face it, investment concepts and financial planning can be very intimidating and confusing. Shoreline Wealth Management addresses that feeling head on. Their goal is to educate you while offering financial advice without buzzwords and jargon. Shoreline includes you in the process and makes you comfortable every step of the way. Shoreline Wealth Management is your financial anchor. Visit shorelinewealth.com for more information and start your financial journey with comfort and security today. Shoreline Wealth Management with offices in Manchester and Manahawkin. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC.
Welcome back to Short Time with Vin and Dave. Vin Ebenu, Dave Crossan with you. And with us this hour, this morning, is Andrea Verdone Gorsegner, the founder of Infinite Love for Kids Fighting Cancer, based in Middletown, Monmouth County. We've been talking about the foundation a little bit, the nonprofit ways that you can donate, the importance of finances on multiple fronts throughout the while a child is battling cancer and their families are trying to find ways to bring them to and from doctors here and there. Andrea, I wanted to start this segment just going back to Natalie's battle with cancer herself. I know, obviously, I can't imagine, just being 3, 4, or 5 years old, battling cancer and kind of being confused, what's going on? Why are they doing this to me? Did you see points where Natalie was able to just fight through any of that pain or confusion and just kind of be, that a happy 3, 4-year-old girl?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. One of the things I tell people when, grown adults when they're incredibly discouraged, or you just hear people complaining about nonsense things. And I'm
Yes.
sorry, we're all human. We all have those moments, but you know the people I'm talking about where you're like, oh my God. I just want to say, go to a clinic where children are undergoing chemo treatment and get a little inspired by watching these kids, because for all that they're going through, I mean, they are the most strongest individuals I've ever, had the luxury of witnessing. And I know that sounds strange, but it changes you, when you see these kids go through what they're doing and still stay so positive and so happy, like through the worst of times. I mean, obviously, Natalie had her really bad days, where she, didn't want to get out of bed or was really sick or really off. But for the most part, like every part of her would fight through what she was feeling and want to play with Play-Doh, do another puzzle. Like their spirit is just undescribable. Like you can't describe it. It's really kind of amazing to watch them, because I don't know any adults who are as strong as them. So, people would say, oh, you're so strong during the fight. I mean, first of all, no parent has a choice in regards to their strength, because what are you going to do? You're not going to hide under a rock. It's not a strength you chose. But at the end of the day, I can't speak for everyone, but I have a funny feeling that I kind of am. But the strength comes from them. I mean, you see them and your kids go through this, and you're just like, wow. If she can go through this, I can step up and do my end of it.
Certainly while Natalie was betting that, Hannah not too much older than her, what were some of the things that you and your husband were trying to tell her about what Natalie was going through with the battle of cancer? I mean, even with Natalie at 3-4 years old, Hannah, getting into 4, 5, 6 years old herself. I mean, still, that's a young mind, and it's kind of like, wait, what's going on with my baby sister? What were some of the things that you told her that helped, and especially out there, because I think it could help other parents who are out there now who have little kids in that scenario of, how do you talk to your kids when one of their siblings, older or younger, is battling cancer?
Right. I don't remember us having like a sit-down conversation with Hannah at the time, because she was in kindergarten. So, it's kind of like you're going to have conversations that are age appropriate for that child. We told her that her sister was sick. I think one of the key things was, we never lied about what was going on, and we always used correct terminology. We said cancer, and we said methotrexate, and all the different, chemo drugs, vincristine, because, one, for Natalie, we wanted to not just say, oh, we're going for yucky medicine. We wanted her to know exactly what was going on that day, because then, since we can't feel what she's feeling, she can slowly start to associate, every time mommy says methotrexate, I feel this way. So, she could mentally prepare a little bit. And sense. Same for Hannah, because, she would be able to say, oh, this is the day she has, this, doxorubin. So she's going to feel like this for like a week. And we're like, yeah, this is what's going to happen. So I think it was being as honest as we could with both of them in an age-appropriate way.
Sure.
Where we're not, scaring them.
Right.
And Hannah is, they're both incredible. Hannah has always been, before Natalie was diagnosed, a very old soul. So she was always this little mommy to her little sister. Like the two girls have always been best buds. Again,
love to
every
hear that.
Child fights, every sibling fights. I'm not trying to sit here and say, oh, we have this picture perfect situation.
Right.
But they, to this day, are incredibly close. And, I think we really lucked out, because in a lot of these situations where you have one child who's extremely ill and, another healthy child, people want to constantly give gifts to the sick child. I mean, Natalie got showered with gifts that we ended up donating 80% to a women's shelter, because we didn't need that much. She didn't need that much. But instead of being jealous, Hannah would say, do you want me to help you open this? Do you want me? And she couldn't read at the time, but do you want me to read you this book? Like when she knew Natalie didn't feel well, she would sit next to her and rub her back.
Aw.
One story I like to share was we had spent a lot of time in the hospital this one particular month, and we had finally gotten home. My husband was working. It was just the girls and I. And within maybe half an hour of being home where I'm like, okay, I don't want to see the inside of a hospital for like at least a week if possible.
Sure.
The girls were in the other room. Next thing I know, they're walking into the kitchen and Hannah's holding Natalie's face and I could see blood coming down Natalie's chin. Here she had a very severe bloody nose. And when she was in treatment, her bloody noses were scary because
oh boy,
you know, she has her blood counts were off. So a lot of times she would need transfusions and platelets. But there was really, really bleeding. And next thing you know, she is vomiting and there's blood in her vomit as well.
Oh, wow.
And so, of course, I'm quickly trying to deal with Natalie. Hannah, and again, kindergarten, without me saying a thing, she runs off. I don't know where she's going. She comes back, rubber gloves, cleaner, and new pajamas for Natalie. And and she puts them on the counter, and then she rubs Natalie's back and says, "It's okay, mommy's with you. It's okay." Like, we really, really lucked out.
That's sweet.
When it comes to that, because that could have gone a very, very different way.
Taking care of her baby sister.
Absolutely, absolutely. She still does, very much so.
And I'm sure as they become teenagers, you know.
Oh yeah, again,
I like me and my siblings. Yeah.
There's still plenty of sibling rivalry fights, but for the most part, they are still each other's best buds.
There
They
you go.
still like to hang out together. So we
Awesome.
lucked out.
We talked certainly about donations and the need for pediatric cancer research earlier in our conversation this morning. And one way you've done that, and you mentioned how you haven't been able to do as many events throughout the pandemic, is by holding events. One thing you've done the last couple of years, earlier this year and last year, was the 24-hour pedathon, which is all kinds of fun, and then certainly upcoming with the 225K. But just to revisit the pedathon for a second here, I know you did it last year. Weren't physically prepared enough to do it this year after a battle with COVID last year.
Yeah.
So, but tell me how some of these events came to be. The pedathon first, and then anything else that you typically do.
Yeah, well, 2020, we realized we couldn't do our galas, we couldn't do our in-person events. We're like, okay, time to pivot. At the time, I was obsessed with Peloton. Bought it like most of other people at the beginning of the pandemic. Was totally addicted to this bike and just suggested to my team, what if we do something where, we have this ride and we have people, sponsor different hours or, we were all just chiming in, talking about it. In the end, we decided, I said, I'm going to ride the bike for 24 hours and, just to see what kind of attention we can get on that because that would transition into donations.
Oh, yes.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, we weren't sure what it would end up raising. My VP, Jim, was actually supposed to do that 24 hours with me that first year. So that was in January of 2021.
Okay.
He was actually diagnosed the November prior with lung cancer.
Oh, boy.
And non-smoker. And had to have surgery. And so he wasn't physically ready to join me. So it was just me that first year. And we ended up raising about $85,000 in a very short amount of time with the help of our incredible team I was on the bike, but they were pushing it on the other end, getting it out there on social media and everything. So, of course, we were like, okay, we have to do this again.
Yeah.
So we did it this past January. And this time around, Jim was able to do the ride.
That's great.
And we were also joined by one of our childhood cancer families, the mom, Christine Doviak.
From Tom's River.
Yeah, from Tom's River. Incredible woman. Her daughter, Karina, also had leukemia and is healthy today. So the two of them, they rode their bikes for 24 hours, and we ended up raising just over $100,000.
It's awesome.
So it's pretty great way to pivot when you
Yeah.
can't do your in-person.
And you had some fun conversations that you were doing, like the Facebook Lives and everything on there, kind of talking to the girls and keeping everybody motivated and everything. So that must have been fun too for you.
That was important for us to make sure, even that first year. We wanted to do it live because I didn't want people to wonder, is she really on her bike at 3 in the morning?
Exactly.
You know, for all those night owls, I wanted them to be able to. Yeah,
that's so smart. Yeah.
I wanted them to be able to pop on and be like, "Oh my God, she's still on her bike."
Right, exactly.
She's still there, and you know, wee hours of the morning, we only had a few viewers that we could tell, you know, on Facebook,
Sure.
but there was always somebody, you know, or somebody texting my phone like, "I see you."
Keep pedaling.
Yeah. So it was fun for me to watch Jim and Christine do it this year.
Awesome.
I was a little bummed at first that I couldn't
sure.
join them, but honestly, it almost felt more right that, you know, it was their first year and it was just the two of them. And they are both just such remarkable people. And I was so, so proud of them. So it was fun. It was fun to be on the other end.
Well, it was so smart, too. I mean, during the pandemic, having an event like that, being out there, and because we were all
Do some
challenged, there was no
digital. Yeah,
physical
virtual.
places to have events, but yet put it out there. Would you say Facebook Live?
Yeah.
You did it. Congratulations on that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
One of the other events that you so wonderfully teased, that was a great tease first segment. I can't get over that. Andrea is a natural for radio, so, you know, if you want a show here.
Except for rambling.
You have the 5K Tutu Trot Run Walk coming up Sunday, June 12th to help raise money for childhood brain tumor research. So, again, and kind of like the Pedathon in January, so it'll be taking place here at Middletown and then with Jim up in Trumbull, Connecticut. So, what is this? How did this event all come to be? And what are some of the things that people could look forward to in terms of signing up and everything?
Yep. So, you know, like anything, this has a little bit of a backstory.
There we go. Here we go.
So our VP, Jim McCaffrey, he and his wife actually created this event in Trumbull, Connecticut before I even knew them in 2016. Their daughter, Mia, who was in kindergarten at the time, was diagnosed with rhabdomyosarcoma. Ironically enough, one of her classmates, I can't say her name, but she was diagnosed with Wilms tumor prior to Mia. In fact, that's how I met the McCaffreys, because this other family was one of our Infinite Love families.
Okay.
And when Mia was diagnosed, they said, hey, believe it or not, one of her classmates was also diagnosed with cancer. Can you help them too? And that's how I originally connected with the McCaffreys. So they had organized this 5K Tutu Trot to not only raise some money to help their family and this other family, but to also bring the community together in another way to support them and to raise awareness. So they did that, again, before I even knew them. About a year later, 2017, Mia passed away. At that point, I was very close with the McCaffreys because I'd been, just connected to them for a little bit of time then. And shortly after Mia passed, there they were doing this tutu trot again. And Jim said, we want to give 100% of the proceeds to Infinite Love. I was just blown away by that.
Sure.
So they did. They raised, I forget how much money they raised that year. Maybe it was about $30,000.
Oh, wow.
Donated it to Infinite Love. And it was shortly after that event in 2017. And I said to Jim, I was like, listen, I can tell you are not going to stop fighting Mia's fight, and you're already doing so much for our foundation. Why don't you join our team? And he did. And so that following year, in 2018, the Tutu Trot became the Infinite Love Tutu Trot.
There we go.
Very nice.
Yeah. And we've been doing it since, but it's always been a Trumbull event. It hasn't been in Middletown. So 2020, just prior to COVID, we were like, okay, why don't we do this in both locations now? This will be the first time we do it in Middletown.
Okay.
And at that same time, my dear friend Sue Funk, she is the president and founder of the Hannah Duffy Foundation in Tinton Falls, New Jersey.
There we go.
She's been a friend of mine since 2013. And she lost her daughter to cancer in 2013, to brain cancer. Every year since her daughter Hannah was diagnosed, she had a race, and it was called the Hustle for Hannah 5K. And like Jim and Marion, that first year it was to help their family, but after that, everything that they raised went to the Children's Brain Tumor Network out of the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia.
Okay.
So in 2020, Sue and I were talking, and she's like, you know what? I'd love to join forces with you.
Nice.
So we kind of merged her Hustle for Hannah into the Tutu Trot. So here we have, these two amazing families who were affected by childhood cancer in the most horrific way, wanting to come together to make change for other families. It's just, I mean, it's pretty incredible. And especially, for Sue, who was dropping the name of her event that has her daughter's name in it to join forces with us because she knows together we're stronger. Then COVID happened.
Right.
We couldn't do, in person at either location. So we pivoted to virtual, and we still, were very successful. I think that first year of 2020, we give $40,000 to the Children's Brain Tumor Network in Philadelphia. And then just last year, it was $75,000.
Nice.
So this year, finally, back in person.
There we go.
We're back.
Yeah, we have
Love
in-person race in Trumbull, Connecticut, and then we also will have, as you said, the in-person race at High School South in Middletown, New Jersey, and they're going to happen simultaneously. We're again hoping to do Facebook Live and connect,
Nice.
so that
Very
Jim and
nice.
I can talk while both are going on.
That's great.
And for anybody outside of the area who has family outside the area, we want to continue with our goal during those virtual times of having virtual runners and walkers from every state. We've only gotten in the past couple of years 46 of the 50 states. So
Who's holding out?
Yeah,
I
exactly.
know.
I want to write this down here.
I think some of Middle America where we had a hard time connecting to.
Okay.
So we're also hoping to get all 50 states. So I think right now, I haven't checked it in the last week, but I want to say we're probably at like 15 states. So we got a ways to go, but we have a month.
We got some time.
Yeah, so please go on to our Facebook page, Infinite Love for Kids Fighting Cancer, and we'll have a map and you can see what we have and what we don't. If you have friends or family in any of those states, we need Alaska, we need Hawaii, text your friends and be like, hey, sign up for this virtual race so this lovely foundation can check that off their list.
Awesome.
So we're going to
Nice.
have all three components.
There we go.
Yeah.
And just quickly, where can people go to sign up for the 225K Sunday, June 12th, and how can they donate either before or during or after?
Yep, you can go right to our website, infiniteloveforkids.org. You can also get there via our Facebook page. You can, make a one-time donation. You can sign up to be a monthly donor. Hint,
There you
hint.
go.
No.
And of course, you can sign up for our race. Both events are going to have a family, a kids fun run after the 5K.
Nice.
We have, kids things, face painters. We're going to have a DJ. So it's definitely going to be a fun time.
Bust a move.
Yeah, bring the family out. It's, but it's also a certified run, so for people who are looking to just run to get their times,
Sure.
come
Sure.
on out.
Yeah, that
The
works.
more we can get, the better. Our goal is $100,000 for the CBTN. And, that's
Let's
a
make it
hefty
happen.
goal.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that kind of brings me to one more thing, the sponsors.
Okay.
We're kind of running out of time for sponsors. I mean, sponsors can sponsor us up to the day of the event, just like, people can register to run
All right. Yeah.
All right.
up until the day of the event. However, if they would like to be included on our T-shirt, then the cutoff for that to have their commitment is, and the commitment and logo is this Friday, the 13th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll accept
All right.
sponsors, of course, at any moment. But if you're out there and you would like to sponsor, reach out and just commit and send us our logo.
There
Your
you go.
logo, sorry.
Andrea, thanks for joining us this morning to talk about Infinite Love for Kids Fighting Cancer. Natalie's battle with cancer, the whole impact, the whole family's effort in that during that time, and everything that you and Jim and everybody has been doing with Infinite Love for Kids Fighting Cancer in the last few years, and the work that you continue to do. Please continue to do all that great work and everything.
Well, thank you. And thank you guys both for your support.
you.
I mean, something as simple as having us on your show helps us spread the word. So we couldn't do this without you guys. I genuinely mean that. So thank you.
You're too kind. Thank you so much.
Always welcome back here anytime. And happy Mother's Day again.
Happy
Thank
Mother's
you.
Day.
I'm going to go eat a lot with my family.
Enjoy.
There you go. and for if Hannah and Natalie out there listening, give your mom a nice Mother's Day.
Aw, thank you.
More Short Time with Vin and Dave after this.
Hi, this is high performance executive coach Dana Cavalier and former director of strength and conditioning for the New York Yankees. And you're listening to Shore Time with Vin and Dave on 94.3 The Point and 105.7 The Hawk. It's always great to hang with champions, and these two guys are champions.
Let's face it, investment concepts and financial planning can be very intimidating and confusing. Shoreline Wealth Management addresses that feeling head on. Their goal is to educate you while offering financial advice without buzzwords and jargon. Shoreline includes you in the process and makes you comfortable every step of the way on your path to financial freedom. Shoreline Wealth Management is your financial anchor. Visit shorelinewealth.com for more information today. Shoreline Wealth Management, with offices in Manchester and Manahawkin. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC.
Welcome back to Short Time with Vin and Dave. Vin Avenue, Dave Crossan with you here at the end of our Mother's Day show.
Good show,
and
buddy.
Dave, it indeed was a great one. Lori Pepinella, Hour 1 with the Southern Ocean Chamber of Commerce, talking about all the things going on in LBI and Southern Ocean County this summer. And then Andrea Verdone, Gorsegner, the founder of the Middletown-based Infinite Love for Kids Fighting Cancer, talking about the nonprofit, the foundation. And they have their 225K run and walk coming up Sunday, June 12th. Check out their Facebook page for the latest updates there. So, Dave, great show today. And Andrea, certainly a mother as well here on Mother's Day.
What an amazing story. And I think we have now a new co-host. Does she not have energy? I'm like, wow, this is good.
Yeah, she'd be great to have back.
No, amazing story, her energy, and what she mentioned about her daughter and her daughter's strength through all of this. Here's a child going through all these treatments. And, she's looking at her daughter like, wow, you're an inspiration.
Yeah.
Children are an inspiration. They're going through this and being able to handle it. It's just an amazing story. And with everything that they're doing with the nonprofit, the different events, bringing out the awareness, and so impressed and so much looking forward to you running, my friend. I think we should both run, right?
Get the tutus ready.
Done. Listen, we want to help in any way we can, and thank both guests for being part of the
and
show.
certainly helping get the word out. I mean, Infinite Love for Kids Fighting Cancer, but we'll also, what I'll do, I'll post out all the information in an article by tomorrow morning that everybody out there can check out on our app and website as well. And we'll post out all the information where you can learn more about Infinite Love for Kids Fighting Cancer and their upcoming 225K trot and walk. Dave, we got another good show on deck.
Ooh, it's a goodie.
Next week as well. So, like we said, we're going to continue with our Jersey Shore theme here, at least one or two guests every week. And, next week, one of our guests works at a place where you could visit this summer.
Okay.
Dave, lions, tigers, and beers.
There it is. Well done. I like that.
If you know,
okay.
you know. If you don't, you'll find out next week.
Next week you'll find out.
And our other guest knows a thing or two about rock and roll.
More than a thing or two. I am so excited for next week. It's going to be an amazing show.
We got two great guests coming up next week.
And then when you let everybody know with the article, what about Wednesday?
Yeah,
people are
Wednesday
going
night.
to be like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
We got two really good ones coming up next week. Give you something to do this summer, and, possibly two things to enjoy this summer, really, with both our guests.
There it is.
They both got things to do this summer. So
a lot to do.
We'll keep you posted during the week on our app, our website. Email us, shorttime@townsquaremedia.com. Dave, have a great Sunday.
Absolutely. Happy Mother's Day out there.
Yes. Have a great Sunday out there, everybody. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms, grandmas, godmothers, stepmothers, all those of maternal influence. Have a happy Mother's Day. And all the kids out there, make sure you do something nice for your mom today. Happy Mother's Day, Mom. Love you. More Short Time with Vin and Dave a week from now. 94.3 The Point, 105.7 The Hawk. Till then, we're out.
Good things.
Hi, this is Christy Pierce-Rampone, former U.S. women's soccer team captain, Olympic gold medalist, World Cup champion, and Point Borough High School alum. And you're listening to Short Time with Vin and Dave on 94.3 The Point and 105.7 The Hawk. Tune in for some real conversation with Dave and Vin. You don't want to miss this.